Greetings from the beautiful San Gabriel Valley in the Golden State, from the kingdom of the Son of God. Hail Christ, hail victory. I was reading yesterday and the day before 1 Peter chapter 1, and I'm fascinated by the concept of being begotten by God. And Peter says we are begotten not by a corruptible seed, but by the incorruptible seed, which is the word of the Lord, the word of Jehovah. And it's beautiful because when you see what the word of Jehovah is, right? Seed denotes begetting, conception, the beginning of life. See, the beginning of life isn't the birth, it's the conception. Peter says, you hath been begotten, meaning past tense. You hath been by the incorruptible seed, which is the word of Jehovah. And what is that word? Peter says at the end of chapter 1 of 1 Peter 1, it is the good tidings which have been preached to you. What are those good tidings? See, this is where you got to connect things, right? What are those good tidings? Those good tidings, you go to Acts 13, 32 and 33. Paul says, these are the good tidings, the glad tidings. And then what does he do? Paul quotes Acts chapter 13, 33, which is, no, he quotes Psalm 2:7 in Acts chapter 13, 33, which is the Davidic coronation hymn, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. The Davidic covenant. The glad tidings of the new covenant gospel is the Davidic kingship of Christ. And what does John the Apostle say? See, it's beautiful when you connect the apostles' writings, you reconcile them together, because John the beloved apostle says in 1 John chapter 5 verse 1, John the beloved says, he who believes that Jesus is the Christ is begotten of God. And he who loves him that begat, that's God the Father, loves him that is begotten of him, that's the Son of God. And when you look at the Bible, when you look at the New Testament, look at the first chapter of Matthew, it is clear that Jesus was begotten directly by Jehovah God in the womb of Mary, the Blessed Mary. What does it mean to believe that Jesus is Christ? Well, it means you believe he is the Davidic king, now reigning Davidic king. That's what makes you begotten of God. By what? What's the incorruptible seed? The word of the Lord Jehovah, which is what? The good tidings preached to you, which is what? Acts 13, 32, 33, the Davidic coronation hymn, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. You know? It's beautiful, man, when you connect all these things and how the apostles and their writings line up together. So, that's the seed. That's the incorruptible seed. What is a seed? It's placed in our heart. Sanctify Christ as Lord in your heart. What does it mean to sanctify Christ as Lord? It means that you're acknowledging that he's the Davidic king, because when the title of Lord is used for Jesus, it's coming from Psalm 110:1, where David prophesies of the fulfillment of the Davidic covenant when the royal seed of David would sit on his throne. And David says, Jehovah said unto my Lord. See, Jehovah's the Father, the Lord is the Davidic king, which in this prophecy is Jesus. It's Jesus, the Davidic king of Bible prophecy, Jesus Christ. Sanctify me as your heart is Lord. Paul says Christ in you is the hope of glory. What does Christ mean? It's the Davidic king. The semine gloria, the seed of glory. Christ in us, the hope of glory. It's all beautiful. And when you acknowledge Christ as king, you make him king of your life, meaning you are acknowledging you are obligated to obey his teachings and doctrine. It is a game changer. There's a lot of noise in Christianity. There's a lot of noise in all that denominationalism, churches, and all this stuff. But when you get right down to the heart of it, the gospel is simple, beautiful and simple. The simplicity of Christ. Paul warned, do not get swayed by men that come with fair speeches and the wisdom of men, philosophies of men and all this stuff. He said, the cross of Christ is what we preach. And as Paul says, it was prophesied for the Christ, the Davidic king of the new covenant, to suffer. I mean, David suffered. And we see that in Psalm 2. So it's awesome when you correlate these things. There is a way of reading the Bible that is on the surface, and there's nothing wrong with that, because there is a time where we're not trying to get too deep because we just want to absorb the text. We want to read the text to get inspired or to learn something. But really, to dig for the treasures in heaven, you got to slow it down. You got to break down words, go to other scriptures, put things together that the different writers of the New Testament, and even gleaning from the Old, and it all works together for a beautiful, multicolored gospel, like the robe that Joseph had. Amen. Hail Christ, hail victory.